Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Twitter banned me! I got an email asking, what happened to your Twitter, Henry? So I logged in and sure enough, poof! And we're not going to take it. I wasn't even notified by email, and all I have is this prompt saying I violated rules, but none were actually outlined. I appealed whatever I did and haven't heard back, so that's super fun. None of this really caught me off guard since Twitter was hiding my replies to all tweets, including replies to my own tweets the week leading up to this, all without warning or reason. Seriously, my threads were just hidden. Why this happened is up to guesses. None of my recent tweets were anything outlandish or out of the norm. My two theories are someone mass flagged my account because they didn't like what I had to say, and the second theory is Twitter didn't like some of the privacy and security precautions I implement to use their platform. Neither of which I think are valid excuses for Twitter to have done this, especially the latter since Twitter is supposed to be a decent social media platform for whistleblowers. The worst part is all other accounts are in jeopardy, as per Twitter's own rules, including the official TechLore account and the surveillance report account, which is actually really more what I care about. This wasn't just me either. Twitter has previously suspended Panquake, a work-in-progress alternative to Twitter, which was just once again, this week, also suspended. And Manuel Matuzovic, who's an international conference speaker who is likely known by Twitter's own internal team, was also suspended super recently. They dealt with the same exact issue as me, where they were kind of shadow banned first before being suspended with the weird reply issue. Actually, his blog details word for word exactly what happened to me, with replies being hidden for no mysterious reason, followed by eventually a permanent suspension. Both of us are also still in the same place of just doing an appeal and waiting to see what happens. I'm not very optimistic. Frankly, I don't care about Twitter too much. It's like 95% just candy points that don't really mean anything, and it doesn't provide any real value to the world. But we're there, TechLore, because many of you use Twitter and have expressed you liked a fast stream of updates, and we wanted to provide that service to you. And it sucks that that's in jeopardy, so stick around because we do have a solution. Ultimately, this all just speaks to how platforms we don't control, as well as you, can be ripped apart quickly, and it's only made us want to expedite our plans of having more control over our platforms, which is important for us to stay alive, but also for all of you so you can still keep up with our stuff and any updates we have for you.
Are you ready? Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Nice to see everybody. So, we've had three good days in a row here in Maine, sunny and everything, and the sky has been like slightly cloudy to just plain old clear, and that's been nice. Tomorrow I think we're going to get more of the same. People are really enjoying being outside now. You can see people coming out. The temperatures don't get too hot though, about high 70s, low 80s. That's a nice ballpark for people who want to do things outdoors. And so it's finally got out of that damn weeks-long rain that we are having to put up with. And I think I have some new neighbors moving in next door, and haven't seen them since the one night that they had showed up here. I don't know But anyway, there's a couple of them there that moving in there, probably splitting the rent, because rent here is a few dollars shy of $1,000 a month. So you know, you really can't live here unless you got two incomes, I suppose, to pay the rent each month. So it's not cheap. So I imagine some of you out there are probably wondering what happened to Jeff's Twitter account. Well, I already answered this for one of my friends, and for those of you who haven't found out yet or haven't bothered to ask me yet, I'll just go ahead and explain what happened. Okay, this kind of started not long after Elon Musk had bought out Twitter. Okay, and everybody knows what kind of a fiasco that shit was. Okay, Twitter was fixing to just die after he had bought it, and he was firing people right and left, if you remember. And then he started bringing back people that were suspended from Twitter before he took charge of it. He started to open up their accounts and bring them back. Why he did that, I don't know. Maybe some of those people were people that he found agreeable to have on Twitter. We all know that he's a big Republican contributor. It's, you know, and you know, maybe that had something to do with it, you know, because a lot of Republicans, when they get on these social media sites, they get rowdy. You know, they get in your face and they challenge you. You know, if they see somebody write something negative about their favorite Republican or their ex-president, you know, they don't just swallow it and move on. You know, they get themselves in there, and then they get all their buddies behind them, and they'll make a whole string of a friggin' comment on, you know, on there, and it just goes on. That was what was going on with me on Facebook, except that some of these people were threatening, crossing the line, as it were. Tried to get the police involved, but they really couldn't do anything because you couldn't isolate where these people were. Everybody uses aliases practically on these sites, because they're smart enough to know that, you know, they can be tracked if they use their real name. So, after a time, and I think I went through this before on one of my long ago vlogs here, I just quit Facebook altogether. I said screw them, you know, and I left. Well, everything was fine with Twitter. I've been on Twitter for a long time, until this guy comes in and buys out the company, and then I started to notice that a lot of friggin' Republican names started to show up on my, you know, list of possible friends. And how do I know that these people were Republican? Well, I always check out their profile pages before I accept anybody as a friend, okay? And it's a giveaway. These people are stupid. They don't try to hide the fact that, you know, they're lovers of Trump, MAGA supporters, and all this stuff. The minute I see anything in there that looked remotely MAGA or whatever, you know, or that they are conservative, I would block them. I didn't want to have them come back, okay? So I went through about close to 70 names in that time since this guy bought Twitter to being kicked off, okay, Twitter. And every one of those names I block all the way down, okay? Then they started showing up with names, and they didn't have any information practically at all in their profiles, basically trying to slip in under the radar, because they figured out that, oh, if we say we're Republican, all the Democrats block us and we can't talk to them. So they stopped putting that on there. And they would basically do that. They were tricking me, you know, and stuff. So what they were doing is they wouldn't ask me to, you know, or I get them as a friend request. They would slip in and comment on things I was writing about on my regular page, okay, on my, you know, regular tweet page. They would come in and inject, and it was always the same, you know, the same people basically. You know, I was getting kind of pissed, because it's like, well, this feels just like Facebook all over again now, okay? I feel like I'm under the gun. And so I was thinking, you know, how long is it going to be before they decide to kick me off? Because I heard that a lot of people, when Musk took over Twitter, had got kicked off of Twitter because of things they were saying politically that were democratic and stuff, and they didn't like it. Okay, and so I was figuring, Christ, here I got, a picture that instead of my face on the profile page is a banner that says vote for Biden, and 20, that's like, hey, I'm a Democrat, so I figured, well, sooner or later they're gonna, put two and two together here, and they're gonna try to get me booted off here too. And I'm surprised it took as long as they did. Okay, I really was. I mean, I figured, the minute I put that up, it'd be the next day I'd be out. But no, I mean, I've been running the page for a few months with that on there, and now, this morning I tried to get on my Twitter page, and I see that it's been blocked. I can't post on there. I can't even put a like or a dislike on anything in there. I can't comment on other people's posts. I can log in and see what's my page, but that's about all I can do. I cannot go and contribute anything at all into Twitter. So essentially they made it unusable to me, which is what, the point is they want me to just get rid of it. I can't even close the account, believe it or not. I tried to go to where it says deactivate account, and when I do that it says error, problem, it's not working or some goddamn thing. I can't even get rid of the fucking page. It's like they want it there so that way everybody who was following me can see that, hey, this is what we do to people who support Biden, and so the page is still there. For how long, I don't know, but I can't deactivate it. So I could go back in there under an alias, easy enough to do, okay? But then I wonder why bother? Because if they're hunting down people on Twitter for saying anything that's Democrat or pro-Biden or anything like that, they're just going to get the same treatment. And I'm not going to pretend to be a Republican just so I can stay on Twitter. Fuck that, okay? So why bother trying to go back on there? The website is corrupted now. It's tainted. It's no good. You can't really do anything on there anymore now because they're constantly looking for people to get rid of. The Republicans are basically taking over Twitter, essentially. And if you're a person that's pro-Biden and got things on there that tell people not to vote for Trump stuff, you're going to be next. Okay. They're going to let you get away with that for so long, and then before you know it, you're going to wake up one morning and try to get on your page, and it's going to be deactivated. So I figured, why be another one bites of dust by going back in there under a different name or something like that and try it all over again. I'm not going to do it. Screw it. They want me out, fine. I'll stay out. I'll find some other web page to go to. There's all kinds of them out there, and I'll do the same thing. I'll just go in there and because I'll know probably get a fair shake in some other place. But I'm not going to Facebook. I'm not going to Twitter. Okay, and I'm not gonna bother fighting with these asinine people that's got an agenda here to try to one up everybody. Okay, because one way or another, I'm not going to confront these Trumpanites. Okay, I'm not gonna follow these people or talk to them. I ain't gonna do it. Okay, I'm just not gonna do it. These people, all they want to do is fight and argue because of their shame and their guilt over the fact that they supported a man that screwed them over 6 ways from Sunday, and they just can't. They don't want to believe that they were that dumb to follow a guy, and so they want everybody to shut up about it. Okay, sorry, that's not going to happen, because when people don't discuss anything on there about things that are wrong, people have a habit of just pretending that the sky is blue and everything is hunky-dory. Okay, and the Republicans are very good at doing that. Okay, people like Trump can piss on them and convince them that it's rain. Okay, and they believe it. They don't care. They don't want to think about it. That's kind of like the way it is in Russia with a lot of the citizens over there. They know their leadership is corrupt. It's like a fucking mob over there. All right, but yet they listen to Putin. They listen to him on TV or whatever, broadcasts, and they swallow his shit hook, line, and sinker. you know. At the same time, they understand their government is not friendly to them. But in some fashion or other, they stand with Putin because they're too afraid not to, you know. Well, that's kind of like the way it is right now with these maggots. They stand with Trump because they don't want to be seen as not standing with him, you know, or they don't want to be end up being proven that, you know, you were wrong all this time about this man. You know, you let this guy lead you by the nose, and you fell off every cliff he fell off. And you know, hey, that's your legacy. You know, you guys have contributed the worst thing you could to this country, and you're going to have to take blame for that sooner or later. You know, it's just I don't know what else to tell them. But you know, that's kind of what the things that I was telling these people on Twitter, and they, you know, like I said, they didn't want to hear it. And I'm sure they went crying to Elon Musk or whoever the hell runs that shit there, and so, oh, he's insulting me, you know, and they get me kicked off, okay? And you know, it's like, well, I can't say I was surprised. I was like, oh, finally. You know, now they decide. It's like, you know, geez, I must have talked back to the right person this time. You know, the other people, they'd comment, I'd say, I'd make a reply, and I wouldn't hear from them. And that's the way it was for a while. But then, you know, later, towards like in the last couple of weeks, there's been people that I've been commenting on, and I've been getting pushback a lot from you know, their friends or other, you know, people that are friends of the friends, you know what I'm saying, how that goes, from unknown people. And I try to block them, and I think that pissed them off when they saw that I was blocking them, and they figured, well, if you can block us, I'm going to get you kicked out, you know. And I think that's the problem, is they took it personal when I blocked them, because I didn't want to hear them, you know. I didn't want to hear their tired, you know, overused excuses and explanations that they got directly from Fox News or from Trump himself. I don't want to hear that, okay? Because I know it's bullshit, they know it's bullshit, and yet that's all they got to stand on, is a pile of shit in order to fight, you know, to fight back. That's all they got. It's so weak, it's ridiculous. It's sad that these people have nothing to offer to back up, you know, their opinions or their place in this whole political scheme. They've got nothing, you know. And so that's why I, you know, I'm not on Twitter now. Okay. But you can message me on my vlogs here on YouTube, and if you have my email, you can comment that way to me, or if you're, you know my phone number, you can also text if you don't want to bother with the email thing. But I'm going to be looking for another social web page to plant my flag, as it were. I'll be looking, and I hope that you know, the rest of you out there that you know, that follow or something will you know, follow me there if you want. But you know, I just, you know, it's not like I really need to have another Facebook, Twitter type page. Okay, it's not like I really need that. But it was always interesting, some of these two sites, because they would have you could follow reporters and news items and stuff like that, you know, and get information quickly. Okay, I mean, you can do that here on YouTube, but they had, you know, individuals on, you know, like you know, if you wanted to favor one journalist, you know, in the whole thing, you could do that. And then, of course, there was, you know, people in the entertainment industry that you could follow on those sites, and you know, so, you know, for now, I'm not going to be able to do that anymore, and you know, I'll find someplace else that, you know, eventually Twitter is just going to die. Okay, I mean, you can't let a guy like Elon Musk run it forever and have it stay around forever. Okay, it's not that, it was never that good of a website to begin with, but it was something alternative to Facebook. Okay, but now, you know, who knows? I mean, if they keep doing what they're doing over there by kicking Democrats off their page, I mean, Christ, all they're going to have left are the friggin' rebels and the the friggin' troublemakers. That's all you're going to have on that page. And who the fuck wants to go be a member of a page like that when all you're going to end up doing it 90% of the time is fight, and argue, okay? I mean, that was what got Facebook in trouble, right? Was that the more negativity they put on their page, the more attention it would get. So they would deliberately get people fighting at each other's throats, before elections and stuff, because it was getting people involved on their page. Well, now Twitter's doing that, okay? And I'm hoping that the lessons we learned from being manipulated through Facebook, that people will be smart enough to close the door on Twitter now that they're walking down that same path to the same problem that got what's his name there that owns Facebook. I can't think of his name now, but you know who I'm talking about, the friggin' billionaire. We got him sitting in front of the, in the hearing in Washington, D.C., over the shit they discovered about Facebook. So anyway, let's go to a commercial break, and we'll be back with some interesting news.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Ruth McLaughlin, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it. Write for Pollution Booklet, Box 1771, Radio City Station, New York.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it. It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Welcome back, everybody. Okay, so some interesting news here about cell phones. This article here came out a couple days ago, I guess, and it's from Euronews.green, and it's entitled "New EU Law to Force Smartphone Makers to Build Easily Replaceable Batteries," by Charlotte Elton. Okay, smartphone manufacturers make their batteries hard to replace. Tough new EU rules will change that. The European Union will soon require smartphone manufacturers to let users replace their batteries. The tough new rules endorsed by the European Parliament this week could save millions of phones from the landfills. Every year, more than 150 million smartphones are thrown away. Making batteries more easy to replace could stem this deluge of e-waste. Existing phones seal away batteries within the tablet, meaning replacing them can be nearly as expensive as buying a new phone. The new measures will help break that cycle of rampant consumption, MEP Ancili Variati declared. Quote, "For the first time we have circular economy legislation that covers the entire life cycle of a product, an approach that is good for both the environment and the economy," unquote, he said. Quote, "We agree on measures that generally benefit consumers. Batteries will be well functioning, safer, and easier to remove," unquote. What are the new rules? Under the legislation, consumers must be able to, quote, "easily remove and replace," unquote, "portable batteries used in devices such as smartphones, tablets, and cameras. This will necessitate a significant redesign. The smartphone replacement rules are part of a broader system of rules. All electric vehicle and rechargeable industrial batteries above 2 kilowatts an hour will need to have a compulsory carbon footprint declaration, label, and digital passport. The Parliament also passed new targets for collecting waste and recovering materials from old batteries. By 2031, 61% of waste must be collected and 95% of materials must be recovered from old portable batteries. The rules will come into force in the year 2027. Mobile phones sit in landfill, leaching toxic chemicals into groundwater and contaminating soil. These take years to decompose. Worse still, these dead phones are a terrible waste of precious metals like cobalt and lithium. Such metals have to be mined, often with hugely destructive consequences for local communities and ecosystems as the renewable transition increases demand for batteries. Reducing unnecessary pressure on existing stocks is a moral and economic imperative. Unfortunately, many phones are built to stop working. Ever felt your phone getting slower, or rifled through a stash of old unusable Apple chargers for the right dongle? Then you've experienced the blood-boiling frustrations of planned obsolescence. Manufacturers deliberately limit the lifespan of their own devices in order to force people to buy new models. Public opinion is against this practice. Oh shit. According to a European Commission study conducted last year, 77% of EU citizens would rather repair their devices than replace them. In addition, 79% think that manufacturers should make their digital devices easier to repair with better access to individual parts. Okay, so that's it. Why anybody would have to stand between the consumer and the industry and say, stop this shit. People keep these phones for like 2 or 3 years at the most, and then they have to go buy another one. And there's nothing wrong with the phone that they have. It's just the goddamn battery's dying. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with it. But you're forcing people to spend how much money every 3 years to buy a goddamn phone that's got a fresh battery in it, okay, and it's got new little doodads in it somewhere, okay, and they entice you with all the little things that your old phone didn't have, okay. Like, I got a new phone, okay. This one I'm recording with. It's got 2 camera lenses on the back of it. Why? What was wrong with the one that had just the one camera on the back, right? You know what I'm saying? Oh no, we're gonna have that second one in there and then justify it by telling you how better you could. The human eye can only discern so much detail. Okay, there's no fucking reason why people should be inundated with 4K and how many pixels and all. You put me in front of that and then put me in front of the TV that I used to have. It's the same. It looks the same. There's no difference. Okay, sound-wise, I might notice just a little bit different, but when it's visual, I don't see it. Okay, maybe it's because I have to, wear glasses. I don't know. But the fact is that this stuff, this idea that they keep pushing out on people, so they have to go and spend money, is getting old really fast. Okay, and to me, it seems like we're just finding new ways to call shit. It's like, how many ways can you invent the wheel to make it attractive to the buyer every single time you put out a new wheel? Come on. And people are getting sick of it. And hey, I was sick of it way back in the early 2000s when, how often were they coming out with new Apple versions of the phones? It seemed like almost every fucking year they were spitting out new Apple products, okay? And there was always a sucker out there willing to go out and buy the newest goddamn thing. And they were always the first people to get hit with problems and bugs with the software. The one I got now is a 13. They didn't have an 8 anymore. The last one I had was an iPhone 8. Not a fucking thing wrong with it. In fact, I'm still using it. Okay? There's not a thing wrong with it. I took that phone off my US cellular plan and put the new phone on it instead. But I'm keeping the other one because I can still get on the internet with it. Okay, I could still keep my games on it and play those things. All right, it doesn't have to be part of a phone company to be usable. All right, so I have a lot of older things that I keep around because there's not a thing wrong with them. I got cell phones from the 90s that I still got in drawers in room, and they can still charge, and the batteries can be replaced in those. Okay, they probably don't make them for that anymore, but they can be recharged still, and it's a flip phone, one of them older ones, and it had the antenna. Remember, they had the flip and then an antenna. I got one of those, and it still works. Everything is still on it that I had on it. The games that, which are really primitive back then are still on the phone, and I can still play it, So I'm not a person that likes to throw away things that still work. So that's why I got a whole bunch of cell phones around, because, I say, look, better to be usable in some fashion than to be sitting in a fucking landfill, deteriorating and endangering the environment, okay? At least when they're in your possession, if something should happen to the phone, like the battery burst or something like that, at least, okay, you can do something with it or take it someplace and they can dispose of it correctly instead of having that sitting somewhere out in the open like they do. And I think, like, you know, hey, it's your property, it's your responsibility, okay? You buy stuff that you use, and, you know, laptops or whatnot, and, you know, because you got some newer version of Windows or something and you want to go get that instead, why do you want to throw away your other fucking, I mean, unless they're going to pay you a lot of money back for it, which they don't, because once it's a year old, the damn thing is like worth less than half of what you paid for it in a very quick way, okay? So people don't really get their money back at all from the laptops that they spend so much money for when they were new, which is another rip-off, if you ask me, okay? You should give people the choice of being able to sell back their laptop, at least get half the money back that they spent on it, you know? But no. But yeah, it was nice to be able to have upgradable memory cards to put in the phones. Okay, Android does that. And I think they still do. I think you could still put a brand new memory chip in an Android phone to increase its memory capacity. That to me makes a lot of sense. Because what if you don't want a phone that's got, you know, a terabyte of data in there, you know, something. Or what if you do? You know, depending on what you can afford. Why should somebody have to be, you know, limited on what they can choose to have? Okay? So I feel like, you know, having a phone that you can take and replace the battery is a good way for people to get the maximum usage off of that phone that they bought. Okay? Until it becomes practically unusable in whatever, you know, internet browser or whatever, or something, you know what I'm saying? When it becomes so outdated that you can't actually use it for the internet anymore, okay? But they should be able to hang on to that phone for at least a good, you know, 5 to 7 years, okay, without having to go and buy another one. But you know what's going to happen, don't you? They'll make the phones, the batteries replaceable, but they're going to make it so that way older phones aren't going to be able to use half the features that they did have when they first got it, and over like 2 or 3 years your phone is going to end up being worthless because you're not going to be able to get online with it or some damn thing. So whether or not you got a good battery is going to become moot, you know, because you know, unless you can replace the version of whatever it's using, your phone is you're going to end up tossing it into the trash too, just like you've been doing, okay? Of course, the corporations are going to be bitching their heads off over this new rule here that the EU put out. And I don't know if they're actually going to implement that policy here in the United States, to be honest. I don't know. But it's good news for, at least for that part of the world, that their phones will be able to have replaceable batteries. Now, that's the way it started. When the first cell phones come out, the batteries could be replaced, you know. And it was always good to have an extra battery, you know, with you that was fully charged, so that way you didn't have to put the damn thing on a charger and wait for the phone to recharge in order to continue using it. You would just shut the phone off, take the battery out, put the new one back in, close up the panel, turn the phone on, and you were good to go. While you're on that one, you could take the battery that was discharged and put it back on the charger, and then you'd have another 100% battery one. That was perfect. That was the perfect thing. But you know, that idea didn't last very long, did it? Because some asshole in the cell phone industry decided, oh, we're not selling enough of these goddamn phones, so we got to do something about that. You know, we got to start pissing out new Apple versions every 2 or 3 years, and put in new little features and stuff like that you know, that catches their eye, and then make it impossible for these people to replace the batteries. And if they try, it'll cost a lot of money. So we'll make these batteries really expensive. So if they try to take it to a shop that replaces batteries, they're going to pay through the nose for it. Okay, and basically, let's make it impossible for these people to enjoy the phone once we get their asses in a bind here with using it. And that's the way it's been going. We've been allowing the industry of cell phones to really stick it to the consumer unfairly for a long time. Okay, And they make it easier and easier for these people to get those phones if you sign up with a, U.S. Cellular or whatever company. They give you this how much hundreds of dollars cash off of the price of the phone, but you end up paying for it in payments along with the bill. Okay, so you get that really up-to-date phone if you want it. Okay, so they make it easy for these people to get that, but you're also getting yourself into the cycle as well of that phone while you're still paying on it becomes obsolete on your last payment, and you're already looking for a brand new fucking phone where you're going to go right back into the extra fees on your bills to buy, and pay for a brand new version of whatever, Apple, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, Apple's really good at doing this shit, okay? And, I had an Android phone that I had used for a long time, but there's a lot of things that it seems like they deliberately make it impossible for people to be able to use an Android in the same fashion that you can use an Apple iPhone. And I don't know if that's deliberate or if there's some kind of rule or something about that. I don't know. I really don't. I just, somebody who knows more about cell phones and stuff like that could probably explain that to me better. But I really don't understand, I mean, the two phones are using the same internet, but yet one phone does more on it than the other. And yet one phone is more consumer friendly than the other. It's like, which is more important to you? Do you want to have all the fun and use out of your cell phone and pay through the nose? Or do you want a more practical phone that's easy to manage and you won't really get the same amount of fun with it, but at least you'll have a cell phone and you'll be able to talk to people, and because the internet's the internet, okay? Both phones will get you on the internet, and you go to the same pages and shit like that, but it's the software in the phone is what limits it, so I don't know. It's really ridiculous. It's like there's a sort of a pseudo monopoly going on here with cell phones. And sort of a wink and a nod to each other that, I won't exceed you if you don't exceed me or something, so we can stay in business. I don't know. Anything's possible when it comes to profiteers, okay? Anything's possible. Deals are made behind people's backs, and, and so we think that we have choices, but the choices are really the same choice, and it doesn't really make any difference what you buy. But like I said, I went and got the new phone. It works the same as the other one, okay? It might have 2 cameras on the back of it, and I still don't know how to fucking use that part of it yet. Why there's 2 cameras on it. And like I said, I don't know the full features. I still don't even know all the full features of the old one that I had, which was an iPhone 8. I'm still learning things about the 8 that I hadn't, okay? And what kind of, things it can do with the proper app in it. But I'll be doing the same thing 3 years from now with this brand new phone. I won't know everything about it by the time, it becomes impossible to keep it charged, So I just feel like, it's a fucking game that you get sucked into, and it's almost like you can't get out of it, because a cell phone these days is almost like you got to have like electricity. You got to have it. That's the new thing now. It's that, if you don't have a cell phone, you ain't even part of the human race. I mean, that's, you know what I'm saying? And somebody had told me, when things advance in technology, we leave so much behind, and it's true. And we've been leaving a lot of stuff behind as we advance. But are we advancing in the right way? Because the stuff we're leaving behind is going into landfills, which is destroying the environment. That's not, to me, that's not progress. That's not an advancement. That's just building a house and not cleaning up after yourself, with all the chipped wood everywhere and the sawdust and the paint splatter. You're building a brand new a nice looking house, but all around it is all the debris that it took to build it, okay? That's what we're doing now. We're making all these damn phones, and we're leaving behind all the garbage that it took to get us to the new phone. you know, and we're finding it all buried underground, and now the stuff's going into the groundwater and, you know, poisoning people. And to me, that right there is like, they're just sacrificing the environment to make a quick profit, okay? And it's amazing how these companies don't care about how they get their money or how they got there. You know what I'm saying? They don't care. They look out the window and they don't see trees or anything like that. All they see is just a nuisance in their eyes. It's like, you know, I don't care if those trees are there or not. If I'm making $1 million a day, I'd sacrifice my front yard just to get that money, you know. And that's really the mentality of business today, and that's sad because you're never going to get anything good with people running companies like that, ever, okay? You might feel happy for a few days that you got a brand new toy in your hand, but after a while that happiness just fades away and you're back to where you were before, like, you know, I gotta find something new. Okay, that's what they've done to a lot of people in the world, is they've made us shopaholics, I guess, as you want to call it, because we expect to get a treat every couple of years that we save up our money for. And at the end of the day, what you're getting really isn't that much better than what you had, okay? I went from an 8 to a, what did I say, a 12 or a 13? I can't remember. Went from an 8 to a 12 or a 13 iPhone, and the differences are very, very slim. There's not much at all in difference to either of those phones. So that tells me something right there, that they've been suckering people along all the way up to the where I'm at now, making them buy these phones, and they seem to think they're getting something, but they're not. They're not getting anything. It's the same old in every damn phone. So why not slow this shit down? And that's what the EU is saying. Let's slow down this friggin' circus here of getting people to buy new stuff every time and then ending up throwing everything else away that still works. All it needs is a new battery. Okay, they're not getting the full value of the use of their phone because they're forced to dump it after 3 years. Okay, they don't want to spend the money to get a battery replaced because it'll cost as much as getting a new phone in most cases. So it's not fair. And yeah, they're going to fight tooth and nail not to be able to follow that rule, I'm sure. But it does what it says that people are saying it's true. It would save the environment and it would be friendlier to the consumer, so they can get full value of their phone, you know. And what's wrong with that? You know, when kids buy toys, you got replaceable batteries in that, right? So, you know, why do they not force kids to have to buy toys that have batteries they can't get to, and they have to constantly recharge and then throw that away? You know, you know what I'm saying? If they won't do that to the kids, why are they doing that to the adults? You know. Okay, so anyway, that's it for today. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Today's Friday. So please subscribe and comment, and try to get back to you. And keep your ears open for local COVID-19 updates. And I think there should be websites wherever you are for local updates on COVID-19. I know they have one here for Maine, but so I would imagine they probably have one for every state. Just look it up online, you find it. And treat each other nice out there, okay? I know it's tough, and it's going to be tough for quite a while, for whatever reason. And these nasty storms that are coming, do the best you can to prepare for them. Make plans, safety plans to get people and your family safe. You know, just use some common sense about, you know, how you can you know, protect yourself, because these storms they're getting really serious now, and it's, you know, and it's just the way the world is trying to fix itself from all the crap we've been doing to it. And you know, that takes time, and you know, what else can you do, right? So anyway, take care everybody, and I'll talk to you later.